Are you looking to get into virtual wholesaling and going into a new market? What's going on, guys? My name is Ilya Kaz, also known as the Investor Cop, real estate entrepreneur and investor. So how do you get into a new market? Let's talk about that. I know some people actually see that I'm doing virtual deals, virtual wholesaling, flipping even, and they always ask me, like, how do you analyze a market, right? It's pretty simple. First, are there more sales than active listings, right? Supply and demand. So first thing I would like to do is analyze. Like I said, sales versus active. I like to check the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And it's simple. If you don't have MLS access, you could use Zillow, you could use Redfin, you could use Realtor just to see what has sold, right? So if there's active in sales, that actually would be sold versus active. So if there's 40 sold and there's only 10 active, you know this is going to be a good market. There's a high demand, right? There's a lot of sales being done. Now if you flip the numbers, what if it's 10 sold and 40 active? It's going to be kind of difficult if you go into this market. Now you're competing against 40 other active listings that are also selling their house. Might be selling just the same as price that you're about to sell yours for. So what makes your house stand out? Not saying you can't do it, I'm just saying it's tougher to do in these type of markets. And I've been there before. It's not fun. Because you might pick up a deal thinking it's a home run deal, you're about to sell it, you make a ton of money, and the reality kicks in and you find out that's not the case. Second thing is there a local economic growth? Which really means, are there things that are being done in that local economy to bring up the values? So that's local. Now, given this example, because we're actually facing that right now, in one area that we're in, it's upstate New York, it's the last stop on the Metro North. So people who commute into the city are now deciding to move all the way down there. It's the last stop, so you can fall asleep on the train and get off when the conductor wakes you up. They're developing a large mall. They're building condominiums. They're cleaning up the neighborhood. They're making it, the code enforcement a lot tougher. So the slumlords and people who don't take care of their properties, they're getting summonses and they're forced to make those repairs, right? So those are some things that you could find out just by Googling that area. And they'll say, hey, they're building, a 250 unit condo association in Poughkeepsie, New York, right? They're building a new mall in Columbus, Ohio. Whatever market you're gonna be in, do your research, look around. I know with Columbus, Ohio too, I know that the code enforcement hammers people. If they don't cut their grass, if they don't repair their house, they're gonna give them summonses. I deal with that. From experience is what I'm talking about. This is what I've seen, and having multiple closings there, always seeing that. People get kind of nervous and like, I want to sell quick because I don't want to deal with this anymore. The city ordinance keeps hammering. Next thing. You gotta call the local title companies. Or escrow companies, depends on the market. Now, when you speak to the title companies, the escrow companies, or even attorneys, you're gonna get a lot of insight. When you speak to the companies, you can ask them, like, are you guys familiar with doing the wholesaling process, assigning deals, double closing, right, sub twos? Are there a lot of investors in that area? How many transactions do you guys do a month? Let's say they do like 3, 4, 5, 10 transactions. That's relatively low for a title company. They should be doing more transactions in the major market. When you speak to them as well, you could say, hey, look, how about your number one buyer? You don't have to tell me who it is. How many deals do they do out of those transactions, right? So if they're doing like 30 transactions and their biggest buyer is doing 10, so you already know there's a strong buyer in that area. He's buying about 10 properties out of that 30, right? And they'll say, well, yeah, there's another guy who buys about 6 or 7, right? 6 or 7. So you could build up an idea of how many buyers are consistent in that market that you've never even been to, but you're just analyzing. By speaking to the title company as well, they'll give you some information. You could say, hey, obviously you're gonna pitch them and tell them, hey, look, I'm gonna be going into this market. I just wanna do my homework. What are your fees? How much do you guys charge? How many transactions do you do? Your biggest buyer, how many transactions does he do? You know, I'm considering going with you guys. When you're actually a client, they're gonna have to sell you why you should work with them, right? You have to let them know that I'm gonna call a few other companies as well. You're the first one, so that's why I'm just trying to figure this out. But it sounds like I really like you, and I don't think I have to even call anybody else. It sounds like you and I can do business together, right? Then when they hear that, they're gonna say, okay, cool. Let me sell this guy a little more on his business, because he's an investor, and title companies and escrow companies love investors because it's not a one-time transaction like a typical person who buys their home. You're gonna be consistently giving them business. Next, what's next? Next is social media. Now this is really powerful because right now, tip your fingers, you can find out how many people are actually buying, selling, and are interested in buying from wholesalers in your market relatively quickly. It's gonna take you maybe 10 minutes just to get an idea that, hey, people are buying in Los Angeles County. People are buying in Westchester County, New York, right? By just looking at social media. There are a bunch of real estate groups. Investing groups. Right? They're local. They have local. And they also have national. So local groups will be like, you know, California, Los Angeles County investors, and you'll do some research there. Obviously, if it's a local group, they're gonna tell you it's only gonna be them, but you can see how many people are communicating and speaking about that market, buying, looking for buyers. I wanna buy in that area. Anybody has deals, please send it to me. So look for those keywords. You can actually search right at the bottom, and it's gonna help you out. Next thing I wanna speak about, companies that run marketing. They know their numbers. They know how much it's gonna cost you per lead and per deal. So with the marketing companies, they know their number. Right from the start, they'll say, oh, you're going into Los Angeles? Okay, it's gonna cost you about $180 per lead. And it's gonna take you some time to build up the audience. They know their stuff. So when you speak to certain companies about going into whatever market you analyzed, whatever you chose, they will give you a good insight as well. They'll tell you how much it's gonna cost you per lead. Obviously, PPC and Facebook, PPC in particular, is very expensive, the most expensive, but it's very, very effective. Those people are filling out your website are usually the most motivated. And that's usually my #1 source for getting leads because the motivation level is there. So I'm always paying for the top dollar, but it's for a reason, because I know 15 of those leads become a deal. And usually it's a really good deal. So check it out. And going back to analyzing the market, if you don't have MLS access, like I said, I like Zillow, because Zillow actually just says it. You put sold, they'll tell you how many, active, they'll tell you how many. And you just run those numbers like that. Super simple, super basic, but very, very effective. this is what I have done in my personal business. Every local market that I go into now, I follow these steps, and then I make a decision. I don't just go into, if one of these things, I need to have multiple proofs, right? I need to do my own homework. I need to know if there's anything in there that's pushing this economy to grow, or is it hyperinflated? Obviously, speak with the title companies, great insight. Social media, a lot of investors, communicate and speak about what's going on in that local economy and how many properties they want to purchase, how much volume they're doing. People like to flex and show off, so that's good because that helps you analyze the market. And obviously speaking with marketing companies, that will definitely help you out. All right, like I said, use these steps, get into a new market. I want to see you win. I'll catch you in the next one.